Hi, I'm Louise, and this is the Pilates for Busy People weekly show. This week I chat to Charlotte, my physio, about the impact that sitting all day has on our bodies. She shares some interesting research on the impact that it does have on the whole of our body. I really hope that you find this interesting. So let's get on with the show. Hi, and welcome to this week's Pilates for Busy People weekly show. This week I have Charlotte, my physio, I have to say, along to talk to us about what happens to our bodies while we sit a lot for long periods, and to give us some ideas and insights into how we can make things better for ourselves. So Charlotte, before we start, will you tell us about yourself and what you do and what you've done?
So I'm a physiotherapist. I qualified many moons ago, so nigh on 30 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
And have worked in the NHS for a period of time, both with inpatient work, intensive care, orthopaedics, and then specialised in what we call outpatients, musculoskeletal, and treating sport injuries, bad backs, that kind of thing. Specialised in normal stuff. Went into sports. I worked with Olympic sports for several years. I did Olympic cycle with short track speed skating.
Oh, fantastic.
Supported our GB badminton team in preparation for Beijing and for London. And then children came along. So now I balance all that with working from home with my children and family life. And yeah. That's it.
So lots of experience, and I have to say, it's been because Charlotte knows what I do. So when I go to see you, you give me a hard time, actually, don't you?
I'm a qualified Pilates teacher as well, in the sense of what I would call clinical Pilates.
Yeah.
It's
so actually,
different.
It blends quite nicely together. But anyway, so this week, what I wanted to talk to you about, and actually this might become a two-parter. In fact, it will become a two-parter because we've got too much to say. We know that already. This week, we know that sitting for long periods, and there's lots of people out there that sit for long periods, work at home, work in offices. And so my first question to you, Charlotte, is, if we sit for long periods at our desk, what is it actually doing to our bodies?
Okay, so physiologically, so how our systems work, what it's doing is obviously we're sitting, so we're not using our muscles. Yeah. So sit for long periods of time, for long extended years, you're going to get muscle atrophy, so your muscles wasting, getting weaker, especially in the sort of gluteals, your buttocks, and in your thigh muscles, because you're not standing, you're not moving around. And that starts a bit of a downward cycle because they do support your back and your hips, so you're then starting to lose the support structure for your skeleton. So it can compound sort of the weakness towards back and therefore leading towards injury.
And is that what you see quite a lot of the time with lower back?
Yeah, you ask any personal trainer and probably Pilates instructor, but also physio, we spend a lot of our days teaching people how to work their buttock muscles, because it's predominantly a muscle that we don't use in our current culture. No. And so it is quite often weak and something we have to work on. And also we've all developed this bending at the waist to bend down with straight legs, instead of like children when they squat. They squat beautifully, and they sort of bend from the knees and the hips with these lovely straight backs. So if you want to know how to squat, watch a child.
And exactly, and we teach them what we do, don't we?
Yes.
They learn from us.
Yeah, they learn from us.
Yeah, and that really upsets me. But anyway.
And the other thing about sitting is our guts don't work as well. So they're designed to work, our guts and our hearts are designed to work when we're standing and moving. So actually that's sitting down, and I guess you're crumpling, you're compacting your abdominal area. And so your gut actually doesn't work as well. And of course, we're not just, some people now, if you're working from home, you could actually be lying down to work with your laptop on a cushion. And also this includes TV time. So it's not just about work time, it's sitting, watching that film at night. So you could actually be lying as well as sitting. So
it's travelling to and from work as well, isn't it? And it's sitting in a car.
Yes.
And I'm sure, I know that we should have sit in certain ways in cars. Here's another one for us to do.
That is another one. And there's a few tricks of the trade that can help you sit better in a car. So there's the gut health, cardiovascular health, but then there's the fact that because you're not moving, you're not then working through your sort of the food that you've taken in.
Right.
So you're not metabolizing your glucose and your sugars and your fats as well as you would do
So
if you were burning them.
We tend to put on more weight when we
put on more weight. Your insulin. So you hear people talking about the hormone insulin, which helps your body deal with the glucose, and you become more insulin resistant. You're not as using your insulin isn't as efficient, so you're not controlling your glucose levels in your blood as well, which leads to risks like diabetes,
obesity and heart disease, everything,
and all those. So I did a bit of reading around, and actually the sitting increases your risk for all major illnesses, all causes of ill health, not just cancer, not just cardiovascular, Alzheimer's, cognitive performance, obesity, diabetes. It's incredible, actually, how much my eyes have been open. Just thought I'm just going to check the latest research, and
and it was, and I find that really scary because I read a quote ages ago saying sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah,
and that was quite profound for me because we know what smoking does to me, and we know that kills people.
It's a very good perspective, actually.
Yeah, and I just think people don't realise how bad
the
sitting
impact
is.
that it's actually having.
No, and you know, I go on about it all the time about just get up and move, stretch and things like that, and people take it on board, but I think you've just made that point so clear that they don't realise how bad it is for us.
Yeah,
but you must feel it if you've been if you are doing sitting at your desk all day, then coming home and sitting. Your body must be telling you already. Yeah. Backaches and all sorts of things.
Yeah, so. And also maybe that you're not sort of firing quite so well. So there's that sluggishness, not just physically but mentally.
Yeah.
I certainly feel that, and sometimes if I need to snap out of a daydream or a drifting and can't make a decision, go off and do either go and is it having the coffee, or is it getting up and walking and standing for 5 minutes while you make the coffee? What's making the difference?
Yeah.
So I think it's being aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and that's sort of what we wanted to do for this show this week, was to make you very aware. While you're watching this, I hope you're nice standing up watching this.
Feel free to march.
Yeah, march on the spot, squeeze your glutes, whatever, but just stand up. You know, there's lots of ways, and hopefully in the second part of this, Charlotte will be able to give you some ideas of how to get movement into your day as well. But just a question for you. So a lot of people are aware and do work out in the mornings or the evenings.
Yeah.
And they'll go to the gym, or they'll do a Pilates class, or they go to other classes. Is that going to help, or do you still need, and is that enough, or do you still need to get up and move during the day?
If you have an active lifestyle, so I guess Louise and I are fairly lucky that our jobs mean we're up and down quite a lot of the day. We're not spent, apart from when we're doing our admin, I might spend a couple of hours writing reports and notes. It's the majority of my day I'm up and active. If you're sat for 3, 4, 6 hours a day, actually then going to the gym doesn't negate that 6 hours of sitting. Which is quite a big impact, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we all thought it did.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't actually change. So how do you change the impact of that prolonged sitting time? Is you have to break it up. And there's no research on definitely how often you have to get up, but it's looking like every half an hour.
Which I always say every hour. I'm being generous, I think.
Yeah.
But actually that's quite... So people are now, I expect, and do let us know in the comments below, because we'll come back and have a look, but people will be thinking, I can't do that. I can't do that every 30 minutes, because I know what it's like. You get engrossed in something and you just want to carry on, and the thought of getting up and standing up is not. So what's the minimum, do you think?
So the research that's been done so far is either on 2 to 3 minutes in sort of a burst of activity, and it does vary for age groups and on your body type and how fit you are. So if you're in the older age group, so plus 65, if you're obese, overweight, out of condition, not very fit, you can do a light, moderate, walking around at a light to moderate pace for 2 to 3 minutes, and it will have an impact. You could stand up as well.
And we'll show you more in the next episode, I think.
If you're fit and exercise regularly or are physically active, maybe you're a parent, and actually you're quite active, you've got to work a bit harder. So you've got to get your heart, it's got to be moderate to high intensity activity for those 2 to 3 minutes. There's no set guidelines yet on how active, how long and how frequently you have to do it. I'm starting to think, as I pick through the research, whether maybe at one half an hour you stood. So do you have a standing meeting like we are doing
we
now?
are standing.
We are standing. Whether you put your laptop onto the top of, or move your screen if you're reading, or move a piece if you're having to do some
standing
reading.
desks. Actually, that's
standing
another whole.
desk. But even standing desks, it requires an investment. But if you've got a mantelpiece or anything, kitchen worktop, and you just think, right, we've got to read this passage for a while, why don't I go and do it standing up somewhere? You don't have to sit down and read.
I like to say I do this quite often without realising that I'm doing it, so I feel quite good.
And conversations. So if you're in a work scenario, you're meeting people, instead of going to sit and have a coffee or in a meeting room, if it's not a private conversation, go and have a walk. Yeah. So I certainly, when I met with my doctor when I worked in badminton, we had a lake nearby, and we would just go and keep doing circuits of the lake while we chatted about players or whatever. So it's a way, it's working it into your time, and then maybe on the other half an hour you could introduce whatever intensity is appropriate for your fitness level and your age group and your sort of body type. Is you could introduce that sort of 2 to 3 minutes of light to high intensity. Yeah.
Brilliant. We could go on for ages, I know this, and I think even after next week's episode, I think we will be getting Charlotte back. So if you've got any questions, do let us know, and I will pass them on to Charlotte and we'll get back to you with them. And I don't know, anything that you're worried about or that you feel you should be doing, or just advice, just let us know. That'd be great. We're gonna finish this week, but we are going to do another session for you with some ideas and show you what you can do to bring a little bit of movement, all the stuff that Charlotte's been saying, into your day. We'll physically show you. So I hope you've really enjoyed. Thank you for your time, Charlotte.
Pleasure.
I appreciate that.
That's okay.
She's going to take it out on me next time I go and visit her. I can see this now. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Each week at the end of the show, I will set you a challenge to bring some more movement into your day. This week, after this episode with Charlotte, I want you to try every time that you're on the phone to stand up, or if you've got a meeting that can be a walking meeting, go for a walk and have your meeting. Let me know how you get on using the hashtag Movement Challenge on Instagram or Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, then please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss next week's show.